Welcome to A2 Graphing Lines X-Intercept video. So, when we graph linear equations, also known as lines, there are three important properties that lines may have on a coordinate plane. They may have X-intercepts, a Y-intercept, and a slope. And we'll discuss all three of these in the coming videos, but for this one we'll deal with just X-intercepts. So an intercept is where any function, so in this case a line, crosses an axis. So remember previously we discussed that an axis are our number lines. The vertical number line is the y-axis, our horizontal number line is the x-axis. So therefore an x-intercept is where a function crosses the x-axis. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, pause the video if you need more time. Okay, so let's take a look at this example right here. Okay, so we're looking for the point, we're looking for the x-intercept, so we're looking for the point where our line crosses the x-axis. So first off, this horizontal number line is our x-axis. So we want to find the point where this line crosses this x-axis. So if we take a look right here. Our line, also known as our function, crosses the x-axis at x equals -2. So at -2 on the x-axis, our line crosses. Okay? So notice the y-coordinate at the x-intercept. So this point right here would be -2 on the x-axis, but we're not going up or down, so it would be 0 on the y-axis. So the y-coordinate is 0. Okay, so if I were to draw some other lines, let's say I have this line right here, and I don't know, we can draw another one right through 3 right there. Okay, let's take a look at these other lines. What are the x-intercepts? Well, let's call this one line 1, and we'll call this one line 2. So for line 1, the x-intercept is x equals at this point right here, which is 1. And then we have line 2, where the x-intercept is right at this point, which would be 3 on the x-axis. Okay? But if we take a look at all three of these lines, what they have in common, the y-coordinates at all of these points is 0. So the y-coordinate at an x-intercept is 0. Okay, so whenever we have an x-intercept, our y-coordinate is 0. Now that we know this, let's take a look at a few linear equations in different forms to see how we can also find x-intercepts, not given a graph. Okay, so pause the video if you need more time. Okay, so we've got three examples here. So first it asks, what form is the linear equation in? Okay, so this one right here, we have our x and our y on the same side. So it's in the form ax plus by equals c. So this would be in standard form. Okay, so what is the x-intercept? So to find the x-intercept, we just said that whenever we have an x-intercept, our y-coordinate is 0. So to find the x-intercept of this equation, I need to solve for x, but instead of plugging in y, I'll plug in 0. So we put b here. I have x plus 2. Instead of y, I'm plugging in 0, equals 4. So if I simplify here, I get x, 2 times 0 is 0, so I don't even have to write it. X equals 4. So I know for this line, it will cross the x-axis at x equals 4. Okay, let's move on to this one. So for A, this is in y equals mx plus b form, which is also called slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'll do the same exact thing. To find the x-intercept, I'll just plug in 0 for my y. So I have 0 equals 4x plus 4. So to get the x by itself, I'll subtract this over. So minus 4x minus 4x. So I have negative 4x equals, they cancel, 4. So if I divide both sides by negative 4, those negative 4s will cancel. I'll write my answer right up here. X equals negative 1. So for this line, my x-intercept is x equals negative 1. Okay, for our third example here, we have an equation that is in point slope form. Okay, and same exact process, just going to plug in 0 for y. So I have 0 plus 3. Let me kind of separate all these. 0 plus 3 equals negative 1 over 2 x minus 4. So if I simplify this, 0 plus 3 is just 3. And if I distribute this negative 1/2, I get negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so I'll keep going. I'll subtract 2 from both sides to get the x by itself. So minus 2 minus 2. So those 2's cancel. So I have negative 1/2 x equals 3 minus 2, which is 1. Okay, so what I'll do now, move that over here. Again, I'm going to go up here just due to lack of room. I'm going to combine this negative 1/2 and this x. I'm multiplying those together. So I know I can multiply my numerators, so I have negative 1 times x. So I'll just rewrite that as negative x over 2. And then, of course, equals 1. So I have negative x over 2. So to get the x by itself, I need to multiply by negative 2 on both sides. So these cancel, gets rid of my negative sign as well. So I'm left with x equals 1 times negative 2, which is negative 2. So my x-intercept for this point slope form equation would be x equals -2. So now you know how to solve or how to find x-intercepts given a graph, given an equation in standard form, given an equation in slope-intercept form, and an equation in point-slope form. At this time, please move on to x-intercepts practice, A, B, or C. Or if you need to go over some more examples, there's the example video for A2 x-intercepts.